No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Morning, everybody. Man, I'll tell you what, this is one of those days where you come out to the shop and like every single bench, every single cart, every single flat surface is just loaded with junk and you can't find anything. So I try to break that habit, but it just doesn't work very well. I get it cleaned off and then I just trash it again. So I'll do some cleaning up here before we get started. But we got a fender on, and we got course port in, and we got radiator in, and I've got the other fender well cleaned up and painted. So it's going to go back on today. We're going to get all these cooling lines hooked up today. Don't know if we're going to mess with trying to start again or not. I need to go back through the wiring harness and check a couple of things. I think I found my problem of why my ignition is hot all the time, so I need to fix that. And I want to go back through my PCM and look at all the grounds on the wiring harness and make sure they are all landed in the right, that they're all grounded. So kind of want to back check all that stuff and make sure it's right, and check a few voltage things to see if I'm getting it where it should be before we go on further. And also bled my brakes, so I got brakes now. That's cool. All right, we'll get some more assembly done and we'll check back here shortly. All right, so now we got both fenders on and getting things bolted up. Got fan in. I got to figure out something for this top hose. That's like not gonna work, so might have to do the old deal where you just take that over to the auto parts store and look and see what they got in the back. So that would work if it was just a little bit longer. So. All right, so yeah, we're looking good here. I'm just gonna keep throwing some more bolts in this thing and throwing parts on it. Let's keep going. All right, so let me kind of show everybody where we're at here and what we're gonna go forward with. So one of the problems I'm running into is we just had to get my wife a new car. We're at the end of October, and finances are just, it's that time of year where I just don't have a whole lot of money to blow on this thing. So I try to kind of pull back and work on what I can, which there's plenty to do. So that's what I'm going to do for the next several weeks, is really work on stuff that is not going to cost any money, that I got the parts here. Basically just cleaning, fixing, painting, bolting back on parts. So I'm keep videos going. You know, I'm not going to mess with the motor again until I get some money rolling. Putting this front end back together is a bigger chore than what I thought, actually, because there's just so much I haven't cleaned up yet. So besides the fact there's like 20 bolts in each fender, it took me hours to get the wheel well in right, get this fender in right, get all these bolts lined up, and get them all tight. And some of them, the back of them, it's like impossible to reach. So I've got this piece in kind of loose because I need to be able to move it. So what I got over here, also I took the fan shroud out. This thing had an electric fan in it. It's just a little small. So I'm not going to use that. I don't want to mess with an electric fan wire and a relay. I am going to get a regular mechanical fan and spacer on this thing. But anyway, I digress. So all of this Has to get cleaned up, polished up, rust taken off of it, painted. These things definitely need some work. They're just, you know, they're just crusty. And some of the clips are broke. You know, I got to fix all that stuff, and all this aluminum. We gotta work on it and polish it. Now I've got a polishing wheel. It's down there somewhere, and then I got a stand I need to bolt it to get it back out, and I can work on some of this stuff. But before I do any of that, I need to get this AC condenser in, because one thing I'm finding out on this thing is it has to go together in a certain order. So if I go any farther putting this together, I'm not going to get that condenser in. So even though I'm not going to hook the AC up right from the start, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get that mounted in front of the radiator here, and I'm going to figure out some holes where those hoses are going to come down. So that's going to be the first project, and we'll work on that tomorrow night. I'm going to make some brackets for this. We'll show how we do that, and we'll get this thing mounted in here, and we'll go from there. So like I said, we're probably not gonna be running it for a while, but I got the fenders on. My gaps look good. My body lines look good. That was kind of a chore getting all that. You know, good body, good gap, good line. Doors open nice. If you remember way back in the other videos, I had to make these pieces, and now that everything's bolted in there, they fit pretty nice, and all the bolt holes lined up, so that's good news. Okay, so we'll get on that tomorrow night. We're going to get that bolted. We're going to get brackets made for that. We'll get that bolted up, and then we're going to go from there. So I've been putting out a video a week, so that's when by the time this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks, but that's cool, you know. All right, so, but she's looking good. She's got front end parts on her, and starting to look like a car again. Pretty happy with that. So we'll pick this back up tomorrow evening. All right, so made some brackets to mount my condenser here, and you know, just some little Z brackets. And I went ahead and offset this thing to the side, so that, because if I'd have put it over here and centered that thing, it would have really goofed me up on room to get these hoses in there. So I kind of set it over to the right a few inches to give me some room in there, and I just, you know, whip these up with my bender and some steel. So we're just mocking it up right now. Once I know it's going to fit, then we'll go ahead and pull those off and paint them. But so before I get too crazy, I need to find out if my hood latch is going to fit, because it goes here. Yeah, it bolts there and it bolts there. So yeah, now that I got this piece all lined up and everything, I can take it back off, because you can't put the hood latch on with it there. So let's go ahead and pull that off. Let's make sure that is going to fit, and if that fits, then we can throw a little paint on them and let that dry tonight, and put that together tomorrow. Also went ahead and took the, I don't know if I said that in the last clip or not, I went ahead and took the fan back off. Yeah, I did say that in the last clip, but I went ahead and did order a fan, so I should have that in a few days or so, and we'll get that put back on. So all right, let me take this piece off, and we'll see if this is going to fit or not. All right, so luckily that fits, and I got just enough space under there. In fact, I may drop that down, just drop it down a little bit more, bend these brackets in more. I don't want, when you slam the hood, to hit this and be hitting that condenser. That wouldn't be good. But I think yeah, probably got enough room. I can just bend these in a little bit, pull that back some. Okay, so that's good. So what I got to do is I got to pull these back off and clean them up a little bit, and I got to get some paint on those. Pull these brackets off and get some paint on those. But looks like that is going to work good. And the fun part is going to be getting these hoses on. I mean, that one won't be bad, but that bottom one's going to be a booger. Yeah, the girl's going to have to come out to be able to put that on. So, and I'm not planning on piping this for a little while yet. So we'll probably just get all this done together and not put all the screws on the grill, and then want to go back to do this before I actually start driving it regular. We'll pull the grill out and do that. But all right, so let's get them painted up, and then I'm gonna, once that's done, I'm gonna start working on all this stuff. A lot to clean up to do, and somewhere I've got a it looks like a bench grinder, but it's a little chrome buffer deal, and I take my B roller off the stand over here, mount it on that stand, and do it that way. In fact, I might just mount it on the bench here somewhere so I can just leave it mounted. But first we got to find it. It's in there somewhere. All right, so let's get these painted up and get this put together for good. All right, that probably doesn't look a whole lot different, but that's several hours of got these parts painted and got this back on, got this mounted permanently, got this piece back on, went around and I had tightened all the bolts on that side, I had tightened all the bolts on this side, and some of them are a lot of fun to get to. And got like heater hoses on, and had to come up with a fitting down in here for that heater hose to snake it up around here and get it over there. So I mean, you know, just that little stuff that seems to be a time eater. So a lot of that stuff tonight and last night. So anyway, next thing we're gonna do here is I'm gonna tear these headlight buckets apart, and yeah, they're just kind of rough. They got this clip on here, so there's supposed to be 4 of them that these things bolt to. I'm gonna try to straighten that one up a little bit. But so this one's gone, it's broke off. And then on this one, there's only 2 of them. So I gotta figure out, I'm probably gonna have to make something for that, but I'm just gonna pull these apart. You know, there's rust on there. I wanna clean all that up. We wanna paint it. Make sure the adjusters work. I might be able to scam some parts off of that thing and make these little clips work, we'll see. But anyway, let's I'm gonna tear these things down. I'm gonna tear them down one at a time so I don't get my parts mixed up, and we'll clean it up, paint it, get it put in, see how it looks. So let's pull this apart and see what we got. All right, so this thing's kind of a mess. Look at these adjustment screws. I think they'll clean up. We'll put them on a wire wheel and see. But like you got this little spring here that holds the edge of the ring that holds the bulb, and this one's broke off. They had a piece of wire tied to it, so I got to figure out something for that. And then this one's got some rust holes that are through on it, so I'm gonna have to patch that or do something with it. I've got the parts car up there. It may have a better one on it, I don't know. I can go up and pull it off, but I know the front fenders on the thing were awful rusty, so I'm anticipating it's probably in about the same shape. So I looked over there, and those parts are just so far different that that's not going to work. That they do have a spring like this, but it's about 3 times the size of that, so that's not going to work. Don't really want to buy anything for it, so I think we're just going to do the best we can to These will clean up. To clean it up, put a little paint on it. You know, we'll take the little grinding disc. We'll get all this old paint off. We'll get it down as good as we can. We'll pour 15 this thing, and we'll do a little patching back there, and we're gonna make it work. You know, sometimes that's what you gotta do. You just gotta make it work, and that's what we're gonna do. So I really hadn't planned on rebuilding these things, but I guess that's the way it's gonna go. So all right, so let's I think I'll just clean this up for tonight. Maybe clean up them screws, and we'll call it for tonight, and we'll get back on this tomorrow. And I may go by and look at that parts car, but I said so like the whole front piece of that thing is gone. And when this rusts out, all that water goes straight down in there to where that headlight is, and it's, you know, gets stuff trapped in there by that double metal in there. So I can't imagine it would be any better than what's there. So we're gonna make it work. All right, let's get this cleaned up and see what we got. All right, so this cleaned up pretty decent. I'm gonna have to do some kind of patch there, but the rest of it seems okay. So I just not sure what I'm gonna do there. I don't really want to weld there because I don't want to melt this plastic piece. So I got to figure something out. Maybe we just cut that rust out of there and pour 15 it and leave it. It's not like it's gonna hurt anything if there's a hole there. So anyway, we'll figure that out. These adjuster screws all cleaned up good, and I threaded them back into there, and they thread good, so we're good there. This spring is pretty good once I cleaned it up. It's just this one I got to figure out something to do with, and I got to make some kind of clip for this. So this doesn't look like a big deal. This, I may be able to heat that spring and bend it to where it'll do that. So I might be able to do that. This one doesn't look as bad. The springs are good in it. We're not near as rusted out on the end. So I'm just missing these clips. So I'll have to make something for that. But yeah, I think we're gonna be all right. You know, fabricate some little tabs, and we'll make this thing work. All right, so that's gonna be it for tonight, and I'll probably get back out here tomorrow night, mess with this a little bit more, and see what we can do with it. Okay, so we got this all put back together, cleaned up, and put it on. Like I showed you on the last clip, these screws cleaned up good, and what I did is on this spring that was broke off on the tip, I just heated that thing up with my propane bottle, stretched it out, bent it over, and seems to be fine. And then I went ahead and painted that thing with pour 15, and then painted these guys with some aluminum paint, and got her all screwed on there, fixed that little rust spot in the back, and it's good to go. And it looks pretty good. So that's one. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. The other one's actually in better shape. I had to make a tab here. This one tab was missing, so there's 4 of them that bolt that headlight trim on there. So the other one's only got 2, so I'm about to make 2 tabs for it. But I just, you know, bent a little piece of sheet metal and zapped it with the welder, and we're good to go. So total cost, nothing, you know, just some paint. So sometimes that's what you got to do. You know, I'd rather do that and spend, you know, a few hours on saving that thing than getting on eBay and trying to scrounge up another one and paying for a better one, you know. So okay, so now we're going to do the other one, and I tell you what, I think that's where I'm going to end this video at. The other one is just going to go just like this one, And then I'll get another one going this weekend. We're going to do some more this weekend. I just got this piece sitting here. I need to polish that up. You know, I looked all over for my polishing wheel, and I have no idea where that thing went. I must have lent it to somebody, or it's been a few years since I used it, so no idea where it went. I got a buffer here. I'm going to try to clean this stuff up with a buffer and some chrome polish. Might have to hand polish it, but that's just the way we're gonna have to go. I'm not gonna go out and buy another buffing wheel to do this. We'll just make it work. Okay, so let's do a little message here, and then we'll go ahead and call it for this one, and we'll get back on it this weekend and get some more done. Hey everybody, thanks for watching along on the video these past few days. And I know this isn't real exciting stuff. It's cleaning up parts and piecing things together. But it's one of those things that's got to be done. So we're going to be real and present it how it is. And it's one of those time eaters. It doesn't look like much gets done, but it just takes a lot of time. It's tedious, and you got to kind of stick with it and say, okay, this one little piece, getting this one headlight bucket done is the project, and it's done. You feel good about it, So I try not to look at the whole car and how far away I am. I just look at that project and hope that the information I'm presenting is useful to everybody out there. But so anyway, as far as the message, our pastor has been preaching through the book of Ecclesiastes for several weeks, and we've talked about that. And I was just kind of going through my notes from Sunday and looking for a good passage from it's Ecclesiastes 3 and 5 is where he's been. I was just kind of looking for a passage that kind of spoke to me that we could talk about. And I stumbled on this one, which actually wasn't in my notes. But it's in chapter 4, and chapter 4 talks about evil oppression and the folly of hard work. The hard work without God's purpose in it. So anyway, there's this one passage in here is in Chapter 4, verse 13 of Ecclesiastes. It says, "A poor yet wise lad is better than an old and foolish king who no longer knows how to receive instruction." And I think Solomon was probably talking about himself there. But, me not being a young, wise lad anymore, might be an old and foolish guy in some ways, but just helps to remind me that we need to stay teachable. And I've been a Christian for many years. I got saved in 1994, but we can get kind of stuck in the rut of doing the same things in church and being how do I want to say it, going through the motions and not really feeling the emotions. Which it's not really about emotions either, but I think you know what I'm saying. Just kind of get stuck in that rut where we're just going and doing and not really paying attention, and that relationship with God isn't bearing fruit and flourishing, and I've gotten that way many times in my life where I'll be doing my Bible study in the morning and I'll read a passage and I get to the end of it. Read a couple chapters, and I get to the end, and it's like, what the heck did I just read? I don't even remember. So when I do that, I try to go back and reread it again. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, like I said, we need to stay teachable in our faith, and just remember that no matter how long we've been in this, God desires to use us and desires us to continue to grow and continue to bear fruit and continue to mature in that relationship. I've talked about before, it's just like being married. When you're married for years, it's how much you invest in that relationship as a husband that ultimately will determine how that relationship fruitful it is for you. And I know my wife for 18 years now, and there's just a lot of wonderful things I've learned about her by paying attention and listening to her. And when she comes in from work and she's talking about stuff that will go on at work, and I'm thinking, I don't want to really listen to this. Guys, turn the TV off, look your wife in the eye, and listen to what she's saying. And do the same thing in our relationship with the Lord. Don't just sit in church thinking, oh man, I can't wait to get out of here and get some lunch and go do this and go do that. Stay in the moment. Stay in that moment of worship. Stay in the moment of the readings that are going on, and use that time to grow and foster that relationship with the Lord, so you can continue to move forward. So kind of a long way to say that, I guess, but that's what I was feeling today, so that's where we are. Okay, so let's say a quick word of prayer. Father, I thank you for today. Continue to thank you for this platform to talk about the fun things that are interesting to me, to relate to people with car stuff, but most of all to be able to share your word. And I just pray that no matter how much I stumble over my words, that you would just use the moment of this message to minister to someone out there. And I ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. Okay, hit like, hit subscribe. We'll pick it up again this weekend. I'm not sure what we're going to do on it this weekend, but we're going to keep going on something. There's plenty to do. So I'll catch you on the next one.